I've never been the one to go to the hospital as soon as something's wrong. I always wait to the last minute. I've always been like that, and I still am right now. I noticed there was something that I needed to get checked out. If I laid on my back when I went to sleep, it would construct my breathing, so I would always have to lay on my side. Didn't pass out, but my vision went completely black. I didn't want to not see my friends finish school, be successful, my parents and my siblings grow up, and myself, have a family and everything. I didn't plan on not accomplishing that. My name is Alexis Lafarga, and I'm 21 years old, and I live in Springdale, Arkansas. My parents live in Green Forest, Arkansas. That's where I grew up. During high school, I played soccer. I ran for track and ran cross country as well. The main reason why I got into sports was to stay active and make more friends. I feel like it's an easy way to get to know people from other schools, and it's also like another way to push yourself with your coaches, try to keep your grades up. Gives you motivation, and it's just stuff like that. That's what the main reason, and later on I actually enjoyed the sport. It was always a talk about state championship. Like even before we were in soccer, every year the soccer team went to state, always made the semifinals, quarterfinals, but just never finals. So we knew that there was a chance, especially with my grade.
We knew that we had 12 seniors, and he was one of them. Alexis was one of them, along with people that had played the game a lot as growing up as a kid, so they knew a lot of stuff about the game and how it worked. And we were basically trying to give them a different type of structure from the previous year to that year. So giving them a structure to be successful in. That was his biggest thing, his attention to detail and his commitment to not only the team, but commitment to being physically fit, commitment to being just someone that you could count on the field out there, whether it was you needed someone to sprint back as fast as they could, or whether you needed someone to hold back there and kind of help the line stay together.
They put so much work, their parents, my friends, we all put so much work into that. We knew from the very beginning that we had a chance. Our coaches knew, our whole community knew that we had a chance to win state that year. We had actually graduated already that Thursday, and we were playing for the final Saturday. And it was a hard team. It was a private school from Little Rock, and before the game we had heard so many people talking about the game and how Green Forest was a nobody, a no school, because we actually went into state as a 4th seed. So nobody knew, they had no idea how we were even in the finals. And while we were playing, we knew that was the last game we were all gonna ever play together, because after that we graduated, go to school, go to college, everybody was gonna go their separate ways. So it was bittersweet. So winning just topped everything, just a memory that we could all grab on. After graduation, I planned to move to Springdale because we used to live there, and my parents still own the house that's in Springdale. And bittersweet moment as well, because I was leaving my family, and we're a really close family, especially with my mom and all my brothers and sisters, and I still have really young siblings. So I wasn't gonna be able to see them grow up like I saw my other siblings grow up. But at the same time, there was just more excitement about being on my own, being away from my family and making my own decisions. So I was ready for the change that was about to happen. I started school in August, and I saw a flyer for the NWAC volleyball team, and I've always liked playing with my friends, so I was like, I'll just give it a shot. And I did, and that's how the main way I started to make friends. And we actually played in a league, and that's where I met this girl that was a nurse in Northwest Community Health System. And she asked me what I was studying for, and I was like, nursing, and she's like, you should get a job at the hospital. And in my head, I was like, how can I get a job in the hospital? I'm first year in college, there's no way I'll get anything. And I found an opening with materials as a tech with them, and I applied for it, and a week later they called and I got the job. Since working for the hospital, getting any treatments done with them, it's way cheaper, almost even free in some cases. I was actually working, it was during my break, and I went to get a lunch at the cafeteria from the hospital that I didn't pass out, but my vision went completely black while I was standing there waiting for my food. And that's when I decided to schedule my checkup with my doctor, and he took a look and he didn't find anything. He just thought I had a heart murmur, which was weird. I never had a problem with my heart. He sent me to get an echo done with the hospital, and I did. And that doctor thought I had an infection on my chest. I went to lay on my left side, and I felt like a sharp pain on my left side. And I didn't think anything of it. Like, being in sports, again, I've always had injuries, pulled muscles and stuff, so I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I probably pulled a muscle or something playing. As time progressed, like, the pain actually went away, but then I started to feel it on my chest, like right in the center of my chest. And that's when I decided to go to the ER. I just went to the ER because I knew by then something was wrong, that I needed to get checked. There was something in my chest that was blocking for them to be able to hear my heartbeat the right way, so they went ahead and sent out for a CT scan to get done. The doctor comes in and he asks everyone to leave, and he just left me in there, and then he's like, there's a big mass on your chest, we don't know what it is. And he scheduled an appointment for me in Highlands Oncology in Fayetteville, and actually I had no idea what oncology meant, so I still didn't think anything of it. By then all my coworkers walked in, I told them, and I remember my manager insisting on him taking me, and I had that appointment that same day at 5. They were waiting for me, and I did. I walked in and I gave them the scans that the hospital sent me, and that's when he walked in and he looked at me and he's like, you have cancer. I got diagnosed with T-cell lymphoma, and it was stage 2. And I remember specifically looking at him and I was like, so how are we gonna treat this infection? Because in my head, I still had an infection. Like, in my head, I still didn't have cancer. Like, it didn't hit me when he said, you have cancer. And as soon as I said, how are we gonna treat this infection? He like put his hand on my knee and like looked at me square in the eyes, and he's like, you have cancer, not an infection, it's cancer. So I called my mom, and I was like, I didn't process like anything, like how am I gonna tell my mom? How am I gonna tell her the news? It didn't even cross my mind. Like, I called her and I was like, yeah, I have cancer. And I mean, as soon as I said that, that's when she started crying, and that's when it hit me. I was like, I have cancer. You know, what you see on TV, the commercials that come on to donate Children's Hospital, Ronald McDonald's house, it hit me. I was like, I have cancer. And that's when I started crying on the phone with my mom. I'm gonna have to send you to Children's. And he's like, there's actually a helicopter on its way, because I don't want you to ride in a car or in an ambulance. You're gonna go on a helicopter to Children's because you need to start treatment immediately. As soon as I got there, I went into the SICU, and they plugged me into everything they could and started treatment as soon as I got in. They started with some steroids, and I think that's when it hit me. I'm in the SICU when just a few weeks ago I was playing volleyball. I was staying up till 2 in the morning, doing homework or going out with my friends, and now I'm in the hospital in Children's in Little Rock in the intensive care unit, and that's when it hit me. Something's about to change my life. The hardest thing was not what I was going through. I mean, that was the hardest thing I've ever gone through, but what just made it so much harder was seeing what I was putting everyone through, you know, going to Children's. I was a whole week in the hospital in SICU, and then a whole week after that I was still in the hospital, just in a normal room, seeing my mom get out of work. And I have 3 other siblings, you know, they were back at home. My stepdad was taking care of them. She's like, I'm gonna tell our neighbor to come in here and babysit you, basically, until she gets back from work. And I was like, I remember getting so mad. I was like, no, I was like, I just have cancer. I can still walk and I can still get my own food. Like, there doesn't have to be someone watching me, babysitting me. Like, I can do it. I was actually looking forward to losing my hair. When I started to lose my hair, I was like, all right, it's starting, and I'll be able to see how I'm gonna look bald, if I look good or not, instead of sitting there, you know, being mad or depressed that my hair was gonna start falling out. I took another way and pushed all of that aside and looked at it another way. And I think that's what got me through. Once I lost all my hair completely, I think that's what still kept me through, you know, not being so afraid that I had no hair. that I was losing all my hair in my entire body except my eyebrows, which was a good thing. The minute I started to get treated with my steroids, it took 1 week, and my cancer was actually half the size that it was from where we started. So the chemo was working great, and I mean, that was the other scary part. With lymphoma, the cancer can be working perfectly, and in a month, it can be doing nothing. From the very beginning, the cancer was shrinking. It was always shrinking. Everything was working fine. So after 3 months, my treatment plan changed, and I started to receive different type of chemo that allowed me to gain weight, and I was back to like 120, 130. I was gaining my hair back again and started to feel like myself again, and that's when I started to go out, and that's when I realized, you know, there's a chance, because prior to all of that, I knew there was a 50-50. The chemo's gonna work, and I'm gonna beat the cancer, or it's not gonna work. But after 3 months, that's when I was like, it hit me, I can get out of this, and it's gonna be fine.